Yo, people, we back for another week. Hope you man all had a good week, innit? Um, let's get straight into it, man. So the big game this week was what's it called? Liverpool versus United. Obviously ended 0-0. Decent result for United in my opinion, but Denzel, what's your thoughts on that game? And do you think like this result gives you like a massive advantage, or you're still in the same position?
My outlook on the game was there wasn't much to it. Let's be honest. It was a little draw. Both sides, I'd say were level. I'd say first half, United weren't that good. Second half, we stepped up. We picked up the pace. We had a couple good chances with Pogba and Bruno. But they'll say by Alisson. One thing I want to point out though is Marcus Rashford. How he was offside about 5 times in the game, or I don't know how many times. But it's something that he needs to work on because I feel like he cost us the game. If he was onside, we probably would have won that game. So it shows that Liverpool, I feel like they're on the decline because of this time last year. If we played that fixture, they would have found a way to score. I don't know what's wrong with their front three at the moment. They're not bagging goals. So yeah, it was a pretty mediocre battle between the two, but it's a good point for us. I thought it's a good point for us. I feel like they'll be disappointed with a draw, but they didn't really show too much either. So yeah.
Can I just joke you off that point that you said about Liverpool being on decline? Because what's it? Cams was saying on stoppage time about how teams have a 3-year peak, and I've always thought that as well. You look at Real Madrid, the 3 peak, 3 years. It's like between 3 to 4 years before eventually they start to do a downhill. You saw with United as well in the late 2000s where they did the 3 peak, then they go downhill. So I just thought it's football, and it's a cycle. It goes up and down, up and down. Nothing stays constant. But yeah, what about you guys? What were your thoughts, Daniel?
I was actually quite impressed with Man United, if I'm being honest. I thought they defended pretty well. I think Maguire has faced a lot of criticism, but I thought he had a good game. I thought Lindelof had a solid game. I thought Luke Shaw was one of the best players on the pitch, if I'm being honest. And I've not said that a lot. Fred I also thought was very good. But there's 2 players really that I think let Man United down, and that is Bruno and Rashford. I think there was a stat that Rashford was offside about 7 times in the game, which, if we're being honest, that's unacceptable. 7 times is shocking. And Bruno, that first half display from Bruno was one of the worst I've seen from him. And we might be starting to see a pattern because in all the games against the Big Six, Bruno hasn't been performing. And understandably, it's because Man United are playing counter-attacking football, and that doesn't suit Bruno. Bruno's not a counter-attacking player. He's a player that he needs a lot of the ball. He tries a lot of different things. And when you're playing counter-attacking, you can't afford to play like that. So United didn't really play to his strengths, but he was still shocking on occasions, especially in that first half. But that being said, I feel like United had the 2 biggest chances of the game, to be honest. I feel like Pogba had a very big chance, and there was another I think it was Bruno, had a very big chance that Alisson pretty much kept Liverpool in that game nearing the end. But to go to Anfield and not only get a draw, but knowing that you probably should have nicked it, I think is quite good for United. And going forward, they should be quite hopeful. I'm not saying that they can win the title, but especially considering Liverpool is the champions, they're considered the best team in the country, and they're at home. Like, they've been undefeated at home for about 3 years now. So I feel like, yeah, United did impress me because I didn't expect them to win. I thought they would lose. So.
What about you, Ori? What was your thoughts on the game, and does this put United in a good position to go on and win the league, would you say?
Yeah, Liverpool's home record is quite impressive. So United getting a point there was quite something. I mean, people say when you're aiming for the title, you shouldn't be celebrating draws and stuff like that. But against a Liverpool side that haven't lost at home in a really long time, I think it's a very good point for United. I think City have a game, and I think City a game in hand, and I think City have potential to go top. So I wouldn't say I back United to win the title. I eventually see Liverpool and City eventually taking the first and second spots. I don't know in which order, but I think United will probably come third, and I think they'll probably be close to Liverpool and City. Also, Liverpool's inability to score is getting really worrying because with the quality of players they have, you'd expect them to be able to they've had just one goal since the Crystal Palace 7-0 game, and that's very shocking. And also what I've noticed in Josh, you were saying about like how there's always like a 3-year period where teams dominate. I've noticed something about the Premier League is that systems easily get found out, and you can see something like for example where Chelsea
Yes.
with Conte, where he played that three centre backs, and the everybody started in that formation, and it was suddenly the in thing. But then all of a sudden, it was no longer it because the system started getting found out that when you don't have full backs, it's really hard to rely on three defenders sometimes to cover the width. And the left midfielder, right midfielder, they always push forward, and it would leave spaces in the back. So obviously that system got found out. Then in came Pep, and Pep came with his playing out from the back, high pressing and all that. But eventually high pressing, you get tired, and a lot of teams like teams that defend really well, or teams that can hold, like we saw West Brom, Liverpool. Liverpool kept pressing, but nothing happened. And you can't, when you keep pressing, you just get tired. You run out of ideas. You're no longer creative. So, I mean, that system will also get found out. Then in came Klopp with his method of false nine with Firmino and relying on the two wingers. But then that system is found out because when your false nine isn't playing well, it affects the left winger, it affects the right winger, and Firmino isn't really at the top of his game. So I feel like that's costing Liverpool. I would say they should definitely go for a striker in the coming window. So yeah, overall it was, it wasn't really the best game out there, but I would say it was a good point for United. And yeah, I think it's something that they can capitalize on and try and get, further up in the table. Yeah.
Sarah, what were your thoughts on it as well?
Yeah, with regards to Man United and Liverpool, I thought both defences were generally quite good. I thought Henderson he played well considering he didn't have much to do. Obviously, towards the end, that's when the big chances happened. I thought Lindelof did well considering a lot of people thought Bailly was going to play. But again, I think if those two shots go anywhere, because let's be real, they were quite straight. They were straight at Alisson. So if they're going anywhere else, they're going in. I think Liverpool had 18 shots or something like that. They'd like double the amount, but they weren't big chances really. And what I'm noticing is Robertson's maintained his level, high level. Trent's, we can tell from his age, he's still very premature. And the reliance on Trent and Robertson to provide those assists, when Firmino isn't linking up the play between Salah and Mane, it's just not happening, is it? I think they have been found out. And I think we're going to move on to later with the title race and everything. But innovation's what's going to happen now between Klopp and everyone else. They're struggling to score goals because of that reliance on Mane and Salah to score those goals, and Trent and Robertson to provide those assists. He's got squad depth now. We'll see what happens with it. He didn't have squad depth the last 2 years, but all his injuries are happening now. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, that's it really.
So yeah, a fellow other title challenger, moving on with Man City, they beat Crystal Palace 4-0, and they look like they're starting to hit form again. So Sarah, what's your thoughts on them? Do you think they might be, I don't want to say dark horses because that's disrespectful, but do you see them maybe like just pulling away from everybody else as we go on?
Yeah, so I've been looking at a few different things with regards to the title race, fixtures for all the top 6 teams, and City do have a very kind fixture list coming up, especially a lot of games at home against the bottom teams. They have Villa on Wednesday, who have got, they've had about 2 weeks off with the COVID. And I think with regards to what Ore said, with teams being found out and you guys talking about the 3-year cycle, the ability to innovate and change is something that we associate with Pep quite a lot. We've seen João Cancelo go into midfield. We've seen Zinchenko come back into the team. These are midfielders. He's going back to his old ways, but it's been effective. Gundogan's probably playing the best football of his career. And even with no striker, they're still finding a way. Admittedly, their 4 goals were strokes of brilliance, and scoring from set pieces is something we don't associate with them. Yeah, we associate them with fast play, interlinking. And they do have the biggest and probably the best squad in the league. So you'd back them to get those runs of games together. That's where I think Liverpool, if Van Dijk comes back straight away and he's full and fit and firing again at the centre of defence, Henderson goes back into midfield and adds that pressing. Because let's be real, I don't think Liverpool's midfield do but what they're effective at is providing that press. They're workmanlike, they get the job done and allow Robertson and Trent to do what they do. We can move on to Tottenham. I think Tottenham, I think they could get top 4, but the issue with Tottenham is they turn up against the top 6 teams because they can counter-attack and they have Højbjerg, Sissoko to sit in and almost make a 6-man defence. But they struggle to break down teams, and you can tell Mourinho, he isn't focusing on them, their build-up play as much. Kane's dropping in sometimes far too deep.
To be effective. From Ndombele sometimes. Yeah.
And Ndombele, I thought he had one of his best games against Sheffield United. Admittedly, it's Sheffield United, but him playing as a number 10 isn't his best position. As a box-to-box with Højbjerg next to him, it really allows him to excel. So I think 3rd or 4th for them would be a good season. Man United, I think we've basically covered them. I think 3rd is they're looking very good there. You'd back them to score enough goals. Bruno probably needs a rest, but he'll be fine. Leicester, I don't see it happening. I'll be perfectly honest. It happened last season. It will happen this season. Madison's scoring goals. Tielemans is scoring goals. Barnes is scoring goals. He's took a big step up. But Vardy is still the main guy. And at the end of the day, if he's scoring all the goals and he gets injured again, I think it's curtains for them. Maybe Europa League this year will be I think that's what Brendan Rodgers is aiming for, to be honest. I don't think he looks at it and thinks top 4 is realistic for him. He's just going game by game. Chelsea, now this is interesting. I think Chelsea, I don't think Frank has not an idea yet about what his best 11 is. I think Mount, he came up clutch the other game. Are we establishing him as a central midfielder now? I'm not sure. Maybe we're still finding that out. Getting that front three working that we all dreamt of in the summer with Havertz maybe playing. We still don't know. Werner's not hitting anything. So I think it could be tough for them to get into the top 4, particularly if Tottenham grind out those results, which we know they can do. But yeah, that's my take.
Just to piggyback off that one though, I still think it's too early to predicting. United, a month ago, we were talking about, because didn't they get knocked out by Leipzig just this time last month or a couple of weeks before that?
Yeah.
It was early.
And man was saying, Oli has to get sacked and this and that.
And before that, he was on the verge of being sacked.
Bro,
I remember they had PSG, Leipzig, and I can't remember who else. And if he lost them games, he would have gone.
I remember. I'm saying at this point, if you just get a string of 3-4 wins together, you're automatically now in the title race.
You're right back up there. Chelsea, if they get 3 or 4 wins, they're right back up there.
At this point, is there any point really predicting or should we just wait till February or March where we got a better idea where Europe has started again? Because no one's forgetting that European football hasn't started yet. Once people have that tight schedule again, you might see maybe Leicester, you might see United, because they're going to be in Europa League that Thursday to Sunday schedule. They might drop down. Aston Villa have 3 games in hand. As much as we say, oh, it's 3 games, it's going to build up, and they haven't played for 2 weeks. It might take them time to come back up. So it's one of them ones this season is very difficult to predict, and I feel like there has to be a sense of caution before throwing out it's going to be like this, going to be like that, because there's too many like variables here. Because if a player gets COVID now, we saw with Pogba, it took him a while before he gets back into fitness. Like, I don't know, man. There's just too much to really be like, this is how it's going to go. But that's just my opinion. But what about you, Denzel? What's your thoughts on it?
Like you just said, I think it's way too early to be predicting who's going to win the league. Ole went into it with his job on the line, and from there just turned it around. So anything can happen in this league. I think it's too premature to be saying even the top 4. Like, I think is open. Like Leicester, I feel like because of Leicester last season, them capitulating, I feel like that probably weighs on people's minds. I don't see them getting top 4 again, but they may surprise us. Chelsea, honestly, I'll be honest, I don't see them getting top 4. I don't think. I feel like my top 4 would be, I feel like City will win the league. That was my prediction from the beginning. When they get all their players back, like when Aguero is back in form as well, I feel like they're going to be tough teams to beat. I feel like it'll be City, Liverpool, United. And that 4th spot is where I don't know who's. I feel like anyone can occupy that 4th spot. But I feel like the top 3 is, I wouldn't say solidified, but I have a good feeling that will be the top 3. And yeah, but it's too early to say. A lot of things can still happen in the season. So yeah.
What about you, Dan?
No, I was impressed with Man City against Palace. I was quite impressed with them. And it's because, like, it's not just that game either. Like, if we look at their defence, they struggled in the past with their defence. People have always said Man City's defence is their weakness. And at the start of this season, I was seeing some outrageous shouts. I think on ESPN, they said that he should hire Sam Allardyce to help out with the defence.
Big Sam.
Which, I mean, that's blasphemous, if we're being honest. But since we have to give Diaz and Stones their credit, especially Stones, because Stones was, at one point when he was going through a bit of a bad patch, he was a bit of a joke. Everyone kind of laughed at John Stones. But him and Diaz have formed quite a good partnership. And they've been quality, if we're being honest. Another clean sheet, 2 goals. City they've been quite impressive of recent, but as we said, it's too early to predict. And the way this season's gone, it's very hard to see if certain teams are going to be there at the end of the season, because there's a lot of games that are yet to be played. Like even Man United haven't played any real big teams away yet. So until, obviously, apart from Liverpool, so till they go to Spurs, to Stamford Bridge, to the Emirates, to the Etihad, then we'll really see, because I can see quite a few teams dropping points, and it's hard to see who's gonna be stable during that period when teams are dropping points. And I think the teams that manage to pick up points in when they're not playing the best will be up there at the end.
Warrior, what are your thoughts on the titles? Any predictions that you got?
Yeah, the only reason why I would say City will win the league is probably just, like I've said earlier, it's probably just because of their squad depth and because of this whole COVID uncertainty thing. And when they do go to Champions League, like you said, they'll be able to rest some players, start some players. Like Pep really knows how to, shuffle between the players, because, for instance, Foden didn't start against with the Crystal Palace. He started against Brighton, and so he just always rotates and shuffles. So I think he handles his squad really well. So I mean, if a lot of them stay fit, if they have good squad depth, yeah. And the thing, like what Dan said about their defense, is that everybody always knew City could score goals. There was no stopping that. They score a lot of goals. So if they're scoring goals and they're defending well, I mean, I don't think there's really anything that'll stop them. But obviously it's still too early to say. I still kind of think Liverpool could even still probably push for the title. I know many people won't agree, but obviously we all know Liverpool are going to eventually turn it around, because I mean they're not going to keep up this form till the end of the season or something. And when they do turn it around, then they will also be a contender. So in terms of top four, yeah, top four is way too open. I can't really decide on top four because anybody can really just drop form or pick up form. I think from the every start of the season, the only two people who I could say who are consistent in top four would be Liverpool and City. I think no one really has any doubts about that. But I mean, Liverpool are fourth now, and people are starting to question that. But yeah, I don't think Liverpool have any worry about top four. I think they would obviously come. I think they'll come in the top two, and I think probably for me, City would win the league. But yeah.
Just one quick point about Leicester. People forget from last season they had bare injuries. People forget that.
Yeah.
I think
Well,
Ndidi
Pereira's
got
coming back.
yeah,
Even this season, they started with a lot of injuries.
bro.
They did. Indeed, he was out for a while as well. Yeah.
Pereira
They-
hasn't played for like a year now.
Exactly.
A lot of
He
people-
was so good. He was so
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, he's quality. Pereira's a
So,
very, very
so
good
that's
rider.
one thing that we need to like deep with Leicester is that if they didn't have as many injuries, I know it's if buts and maybes, but they did have a lot of injuries last season, which kind of made sense why they would capitulate. But anyway, moving from the Premier League and moving to someone that's leaving the Premier League now is Mesut Ozil. And obviously, I think he came in 2013, so it's 7 years or 8 years. And I just wanted to gather what people's thoughts were on his legacy. Did he? Oh, he did really underperform, but like, what are moments and our memories of Mesut Ozil? I'm going to start with the two Arsenal fans to see what they're saying. But so, Daniel, what are you saying about Ozil and his time at Arsenal?
Ozil's an interesting one because obviously when Arsenal bought him, he was a world-class player. At certain moments and points when he played for Arsenal, he was world-class. But I feel like it will be looked in a kind of bittersweet way because obviously he ended Arsenal's trophy drought when he came in. We won the FA Cup and he went on to win 4 FA Cups for Arsenal, which I mean, that's nothing really to be scoffed about. That's quite impressive. But in terms of how it ended, I feel like the club did let him down. And I feel like the media did kind of villainize him to a certain extent. Like there was, even when Ozil was at his best, the media were making certain comments about how he was a ghost in big games, how he didn't turn up, how he was lazy. And I mean, I don't think that's totally fair. Like, and we can see that they've been doing that for years and years. They've done it with Pogba, loads of players that they've just seemed to form an agenda against. But I mean, Ozil, as I said, I think the club let him down. They were the ones that offered him the big wages, the £350,000 a year, which he didn't have to take. He could have left and joined another club, but he decided to stay at Arsenal. Obviously, the wages is a big factor because I don't think he would have got has high wages anywhere else. But ultimately, he was offered them. He didn't ask for them. The club gave it to him. So for them to kind of use that as something that he's on this much money and he's not performing is not really fair in my opinion. And also about the how it ended, for him not to be registered, I think is ultimately it's unacceptable. Ultimately it's unacceptable. Because if we're being honest, there's not 25 players in Arsenal's team that are better than Ozil. And it's almost comical that Arsenal, where we lack is creativity. A number 10, the exact position that Ozil has played for years, that Ozil has thrived in, has played at a world-class level, and he's left out of the squad. And I mean, obviously there's speculation that it's because of his comments about China, but we just have to take it at face value that Arteta said he's not there because of tactical reasons. And if that's true, then he's definitely been let down by the club. And I can't make excuses for Arsenal for that reason. They've done Ozil quite badly, in my opinion.
What about you, Ori?
What I can say about Ozil is there's been, in terms of the number 10 role that he plays per se, a lot of people who don't watch Ozil they just base off his performances on assists and goals, like a lot of people do, and I'm victim of sometimes I judge players by goals and assists. But there have a lot been at times where Ozil has, made the difference in games without him assisting or scoring, that people don't really look at. And I feel like, that's really poor from the fan base and from the media in general. Then in terms of him not working hard enough, I feel like firstly, Ozil's running style just doesn't appeal to people, as weird as that's to say. But people think he jogs and he just doesn't work as hard. But there's a lot of times where I've actually seen Ozil go back and win balls and actually, work hard for the team. But yeah, him not getting registered I feel was a disgrace to it just doesn't make sense, especially the fact that we needed a creative midfielder, and he literally wears the number 10, and we didn't put him in the team, not even just for, even if he wasn't going to play in the Premier League, at least you couldn't squeeze him in for an EFL match or for a European match. Yeah, I don't think that's it definitely isn't for tactical reasons. That's what I can say. But I mean, like Dan said, we just have to take it as what Teta said. Now his legacy, yeah, just like Dan said as well, I'll say it's just it's a bit of a mixed one, because he did have his high moments and he did have his very low moments. But in general, it's just the best thing for both parties is that he leaves, because he wasn't getting playing time, and now he can go and people complain about him earning 350k, like it wasn't the club that literally gave him that contract, like, so it's not something that. And then also people complain about the pay cuts, but when he actually just asked what the pay cuts was for, and the club couldn't really give him a direct answer. And eventually after that, they went on to cut 55 number of staffs from the board, so from the club. So he's probably thinking like, okay, you took the pay cuts from different players, but you still couldn't pay for so I guess, I don't know. Then yeah, everybody always also complained that he was always just doing stuff for PR stunts, all of that. I don't know. I mean, I do think obviously a bit of what he did was obviously, for attention, I have to say. But at the end of the day, a club that you like and they're treating you like that, it must really hurt. And at the end of the day, he's still just a human being. So, whatever way he wanted to take it out, I guess he could. But yeah, in my opinion, I liked Ozil as an Arsenal player. I obviously do not regret having Ozil. And yeah, I wish him all the best in his career.
My thoughts on Ozil, he's probably the best when it comes to making that final pass. He's probably the best that we've ever seen in the Prem, because like the weight of his passes, especially in that final third, I don't know if we've seen someone better than him in terms of just.
Denzel's not liking that.
I was going to say Bruno.
Denzel's not liking that.
I can't think of another one that's better than him in the final third, just making that key final
You could argue
pass.
Bergkamp.
Obviously, okay, based on who I've seen then. Obviously, people can say Bergkamp in it, but Ozil's probably the best that I've ever seen in the Prem. Sometimes we do look at him with rose-tinted glasses, especially recently in terms of how he would save Arsenal. I think a lot of people knew that Ozil, if he came in, he would improve Arsenal, but he wouldn't save Arsenal to that point. And he's not the same player that he was from even when Arsenal went on the run to win the league in like 2016, I think, isn't it? Yeah, so he wasn't the same player, but I mean, at his best, he's incredible, isn't it? Man's just too effortless. I remember one time he played against Chelsea. He did the no-look pass, innit? Nah. He's certified, man. Obviously,
but he's not there. He's not there now, though. Let's not forget, in the Europa League final against Chelsea, he was probably the worst performer on the pitch.
Yeah, that's Ozil, innit, man? That's Ozil, man. He's a luxury player.
I think people, obviously, as you said, they're looking with rose-tinted glasses. But let's not forget that he was probably let down by the club at his best, because when he got 19 assists, he won the title. Giroud was the main striker, and Giroud went 6 months without a goal. Everyone was begging. Everyone was begging that Arsenal need to find a striker. Arsenal need to sign a striker. Everyone knew. But
Yeah.
Arsenal still said, no, we don't. And so you could argue he was let down multiple times by the club.
I hear that, man. But obviously, wish Ozil the best of luck. I've got a lot of respect for him for speaking up for issues in the world, man. But I wish him all the luck and big him up in it. But I know Denzel wasn't agreeing with what I was saying in it. But before you tell us why, what are your thoughts on Ozil anyway?
The thing is, it's what you're judging him on, because of we're talking about his legacy here. Are we looking at Ozil and saying he's a Premier League great?
No.
No, he's not. He's not. But then again, you have to put it down to the circumstance in which he was in.
If Pogba leaves at the end of the season, does he have a better legacy than Ozil?
If he wins the
I'll
league,
say that.
yes.
I'll say
If he
that.
wins the league, yes.
See, you know what it is, yeah.
Of course, if he wins the league, yes. But if not, let's
Premier
assume they
League,
don't
Premier
win the
League
league.
legacies are basically just defined on the Premier
If you
League
win the
title,
team.
more or less.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, but let me just say, like, if Pogba leaves Man United without like a Premier League trophy, I think he would have had a worse career than Ozil in the Prem, because Ozil had he didn't have the support around him. You could argue he was evidently levels above the rest in his team. But with Pogba, we've signed players to try and complement Pogba and unlock Pogba. And I feel like he has a decent squad around him. He's had good players around him. He's played with Ibra, Lukaku. Well, we've tried to sign decent players anyway. Whether they turned out well or not is a different story. But Ozil, he was starved when it came to the striking department. So I feel like if Pogba left Man United in the summer without winning a trophy, in fact, I'm not gonna say worse because I feel like it's a bit harsh, but it's the same thing. I'd say on the same levels. But back to Ozil, I'd say, I'm not looking at him saying as a Premier League great, no way, because he didn't win a Prem. And I feel like with Ozil as well, Arsenal did him a massive disservice with not registering him, because honestly, we haven't seen Ozil in so long that a lot of people forgot that how good he is. Like, I personally, I feel like I'm a victim of that. Like, I don't remember like prime Ozil. It seems like so long ago.
Wait, Denzel, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Do you think De Bruyne is a Premier League great now?
De Bruyne a Premier League great? I think, you know what, yeah. I think if he retired today, yeah.
He is.
Yeah, he is.
Now, at their very best, who do you think is better, Ozil or De Bruyne?
No, but that's a different question.
On this prime Ozil, is prime Ozil in Arsenal though?
I mean, he got 19 assists in one season with Giroud up front. So, I mean,
No.
arguably...
His prime was at Real Madrid.
Exactly.
I'm not saying that's
His
prime.
prime-
I'm not
his
saying that's
prime
prime,
wasn't
but that's a
even at
very
Arsenal.
high level. That's a very high level.
But to me, the best per set of performances together I've seen from Ozil was at the World Cup with Germany in that 2014.
I can't remember.
He was an Arsenal player then, so I think at his peak he was an Arsenal player.
But I think
between that time of the 2014 to 2016, I mean, in Madrid, he was also very good, but
like his prime was in Madrid because he was surrounded by good players. Maybe you could say that.
I mean,
and him coming into that Arsenal side, he was starved a bit of talent and quality. I'll take De Bruyne. I'll take De Bruyne. I'll take De Bruyne.
If you put De Bruyne in that Arsenal team, is he getting 20 assists? I don't think he is.
Nah,
12 to
probably
12,
not. But I'm not just basing it off of assists. I think prime De Bruyne. But then again, you could say if you put Ozil into that Man City team, he would have.
We have literally seen Ozil with good players, like you just said.
Yeah, exactly.
Germany and Real Madrid.
And in Madrid, he was something else. With Germany, he was something else. Euros, World Cup, he always outperformed himself.
So.
And also, De Bruyne doesn't perform for Belgium.
Your thing's kind of bugging still.
You're like, get out.
Yeah, he said he doesn't perform for Belgium. That's debatable. Yeah, in fact, that's a fair point because he has a lot of good players around him in Belgium, and he still didn't reach.
Is David Silva a bigger Premier League legend than Ozil?
Of course.
Yeah.
That's not even a question. Hey, yo, what?
Is David Silva a better player than Ozil?
I definitely don't think he's a better player.
Is he a better player than Ozil?
Definitely.
A better player?
Yes.
You're,
He definitely
you're
is
being
not
silly.
a better player than Ozil. He
You're being
definitely
silly.
is not a better
Definitely.
player.
Definitely.
Really?
100%.
He's not a better player.
Definitely isn't.
He is.
He
not
is.
a better
He
player.
is.
He's just a player. He's just a player that is really blessed to have found himself in a beautiful
Do you know
condition.
what? David Silva's a good player,
Nah,
but I don't think he's a better player. than Ozil.
Really?
I don't think he's a
Josh, you
better
have the
player.
final say.
What and who?
He's a better player.
It depends on what I want. If I want someone to control the midfield, I'm going with Silva. If I want a guy to make the final pass, I'm going with Ozil.
Sitting on the
I
fence.
think Silva can do both perfectly fine.
Word.
Silva is a better passer than Ozil.
Silva's clear of Ozil. It's not even
Clear
close, man.
is shame.
Clear.
But
It's not even.
That's shame. That's
Claire,
shameful.
Claire is actually quite
I
embarrassing.
would be
No.
offended.
I actually agree with what Sarah
That's-
said.
I was
I feel like
That's
Silva can
disrespectful.
do two roles. I thought Ozil can only do one. I thought Ozil when it comes to
as Pep says, he's the best in small spaces.
Yeah, but
It's
Pep
true.
says a lot of things though. Let's not forget. Pep says a lot of things.
Nah, but this,
Come
but
on
this
now.
is an
Wait.
observation,
Okay.
though.
Is this Arsenal Ozil? Or we're just looking at the overall.
I'm
careers and
saying
comparing them?
at their peak.
I'm saying at their
Even
peak,
at their
very
peak, I'm still
best,
taking Silva.
footballing-
I'm still
footballing
taking
ability.
Silva.
technique, what they can do with the
Man,
ball.
I'm taking
And you really
Silva.
think that David Silva can
Yes.
do with the ball better than Ozil? Have you seen what Ozil has done?
No.
Yes.
No,
Let's not
yes.
disrespect
That's
Silva.
only
Let's not
time.
I'm telling
disrespect
you,
Silva. He's a
Silva
good
is
player,
on
but
crud, man. Silva
But
is
Ozil
on
No,
is-
no,
crud.
but let's
Ozil is
look at
different
it.
level.
Let's look
Ozil
at
is
it.
not
Who
touching Silva. I'm
who
telling
can
you
dictate
now.
the midfield better, Silva or Ozil?
Silva, man.
Silva.
Is Silva.
Silva's gliding
Who
through the
makes the
thing,
better
man.
final passes is Ozil. If you put
And he's
Ozil,
clear.
He's
yeah,
clearly Ozil for the
Ozil's the
final
better
pass.
final passer. But in terms of dictating the midfield, I would rather have Silva.
Silva's probably a better dribbler. But in terms
Ozil
of
can dribble, you know. Ozil
in
can
terms
dribble.
of final passing, he's not even close.
They're close, but Ozil's better.
Nah, they're not.
Nah, David Silva always makes the right
Even
pass.
who would you say is the
Come on,
smarter?
man.
Who would you say is the smarter player?
They're just as smart as each other. in all honesty.
Exactly. Ozil's a very smart player, though.
But Ozil's arguably the best playmaker of a generation at his peak.
He's up there. He's definitely up there. You can argue there.
That
The
is-
reason, the reason I have a lot of respect for Ozil is he was part of that new generation of Germany talent. We saw that dismantled England in
I
the
remember
2010
watching
World
that.
Cup.
No, I
And do you
remember
remember
watching him in
Ozil's goal where
2009.
he just swipes it, he goes and lobs it into the top corner. I thought,
You know
yes,
what's too
this
sad?
guy.
You know what's too sad? Arsenal has basically taken his legacy and ruined it. Because
Basically,
a lot of people talk about Ozil like he's just
100%.
just some guy that he's not really that. He's just, if Ozil had gone to, let's say, City, right now everybody will be talking about him as one of the best ever to play in the Premier League. And I mean,
It's true. It's true.
It's very unfortunate for him, but yeah.
and he done it before
He should've
he
gone
went
City
to
then.
Real Madrid as well.
Should've gone
He
City.
done it before he went to Real Madrid. I think he's the only playmaker to have the top assist in 5 leagues. I think 5 or 4 leagues.
Yeah.
In Bundesliga, Premier League, and
La Liga.
La
There's
Liga,
another one
yeah.
as well, I think. Or I might be wrong. But Ozil is a
Yeah, he's
very,
just
very good
he's just
playmaker.
a
I think
really
he's
good
better than
one.
David Silva, man.
Yeah.
I want to say playmaker. In terms of just a final pass, he's better than David Silva, though.
But David Silva played in more positions as well, didn't he?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's why I agree with what you were saying, Sarah, when you could say David Silva could probably do more. But in terms of
If
the
we look at-
specific role of Ozil, Ozil probably does it better, will do better. That's the
If we
thing.
look at iconic moments, though, how many does Silva have?
I mean, that doesn't really define if you're a good player or not.
He
innit?
has quite
No,
a
it
lot.
doesn't,
He
but
has
I'm
got-
just
Lifting
he
that
has
Premier
a
League
few.
trophy, how many
Now,
times?
you know what? I'm not going to make this argument
read
to be
that.
not
Even
rating
for
because
Spain,
I
he's
do
got
think
quite a
David
few.
Silva is a very good footballer. But I mean, I just I just think he has just been very fortunate to be in City. That's the
I
best
agree
way
with you.
Nah.
I agree with you.
I mean,
No,
ever since
because
he
even
left
when he
the
was
side, they
joined
haven't been
City,
good.
City weren't what they were.
Yeah,
when
that-
he
yeah,
was
They were
he
still
did
a
not
very
what
good
they
team.
You
were.
can't say
They're not
that.
They
as
were still
good,
a
though.
very
They're
good
not
say
as
team.
that,
good,
man.
though. They're
Come
not as
on.
They
good.
were still a very good
They were
team.
They're
But
not as good,
still,
though.
City weren't the City.
They
were
weren't
better than
the City
Arsenal.
when Silva
Coming.
joined.
They were
Man.
better
You
than
acting
Arsenal.
like Silva. Oh. That's
They were
like
better
he
than
joined when it was.
Arsenal.
And
But
another thing you have to remember, one constant throughout City's whole success has been Silva and Aguero.
Exactly, man.
So
The way I
It-
see it is
in different
De
managers as
Bruyne
well.
is more
So
comparable
Exactly.
to Ozil than David Silva is.
Yeah,
in my
I do
opinion.
agree with that.
De Bruyne is
I
more
agree with that.
comparable.
I agree with
Yeah,
that.
man.
I don't even know.
Like picking up
I don't
positions
see.
on the
I
left
don't
wing,
see
the
De
right
Bruyne
wing,
as
in
a
the
10.
middle.
I don't see De Bruyne as a 10. I don't see him as a 10.
I feel
He's
like
like-
Yeah,
he's
I
like
agree
a
with that. I agree with
man.
that, George.
He's like a midfield winger. Like,
Yeah.
if you get what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah.
what do they call
He-
him?
he-
Mazzalas, isn't it? He's
on
like
paper,
so, yeah.
on paper, he's a 10, but in actual games, he actually just basically drifts wide and just puts crosses in and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You rarely see, especially recently, you rarely see him playing that through ball often. He's usually putting balls in from the wing. Most of his, chances created come from the wing. So, I mean, yeah. In terms of Silva, I mean, I don't know. I don't know how you can watch Ozil and Silva play and think Silva is better, honestly. Like,
No, but let's Sarah
in terms
finish
of
his point on
in terms of
Ozil.
what they can do,
Come
in terms of
on,
what
the
they can do
Arsenal
with the
bias is
ball.
blinding you, bro.
Yeah,
Come
Ozil's
on.
cold in it. Let's
do you know what I
Sarah,
think
what's
it is?
your
He's
thought?
cold, but he's not David Silva cold.
I think
Let's
people
be honest.
people remember David Silva a lot more fondly because he won titles.
That's what
Obviously,
I mean,
obviously
that's
that's a
part
big
of
part
it,
of
though.
it. Obviously, that's the big
Yeah,
part.
that's a big part of it.
Obviously, that's a big part. But if he played in a worse team, would he still be remembered as fondly? If he played in that Arsenal team, would he be remembered
If
as
buts and
fondly?
maybes,
You know what?
Of course.
If
But this is all
played,
hypothetical.
if Silva played in the Arsenal team, he'll probably have about the same legacy as Cazorla.
That's my point.
I like
Silva and Cazorla are more comparable with each other.
Oh, we
Cazorla is more comparable.
That's what we're doing now. We're comparing. Okay, Cazorla's cold as well, but we're comparing Cazorla to Silva now. Come on.
Hey, Cazorla's very underrated.
Let's not do that. I know.
Cazorla is also just another unfortunate player.
Wait,
okay, but let's not do that. Let's not do
We're going off
that.
topic.
You guys
We're
really
going off topic, man. Hey,
Stick to
Sarah,
the agenda.
what are you gonna say about Ozil before we move on?
No, I think he's a victim. I think he's a victim of the number 10 changing. I think we're seeing number 10s either becoming second strikers or becoming as part of the midfield, and they're being asked to do a lot more. Ozil on his day was, as a number 10, top 3 I've ever seen personally. Thomas Muller has now become a second striker effectively. Okay. I think he'll go down as an Arsenal great, but not as a legend.
I don't know about that either.
Really?
Yeah,
I think
Because Arsenal, because if you look at Arsenal, like Arsenal have a lot of very good players that have played for Arsenal. So, for example, players like Cesc Fabregas, it's arguable if he's an Arsenal great. A lot of Arsenal fans don't like him, but he reached higher levels than Ozil did at Arsenal.
Exactly.
I remember when this was in the news in 2013 when you signed Ozil, it was huge. The PR,
No, of course,
it was huge.
Yeah, because even United, even we wanted him. Like
That deadline day was crazy.
He was hot property in that window. I was surprised he went to Arsenal. I'll be honest. But yeah, no, it's not even disrespect. I'm not even trying to be disrespectful, but at the time, like most of the top teams in Europe were going for Ozil. So I didn't expect him to go to Arsenal. I felt like it was a good move from Wenger. I respect Arsenal for that move, but yeah, he had better options. You could say,
such as
I don't know in any other team. That's what I'm saying. It's really unfortunate because he ended our trophy drought. He had a season where he created the most chances, and he had 19 assists. And I mean, any other player in any other team who has won a title, people be talking about them as, one of the best. But yeah, I just think he's very unfortunate to play for Arsenal, as bad as it sounds. But yeah, it's just, one of those things.
And then obviously another shout out to a guy that's going out as well is Rooney as well. Obviously, give him a quick shout out. Wonderful career, man. Great footballer. Good luck at Derby, innit? Any little thoughts? Any little thoughts on Rooney?
I don't think he's going to be a good manager. That's all I can say.
he'll do well. As
a footballer, one of the best I've seen. Yeah.
Yeah. Quality player. Quality.
Yeah, man. I feel like people took his career for granted, man. He did a lot.
He peaked very early, though. He peaked really early. I think
but certain players do that, though. Certain players do. Like Fabregas peaked early.
Yeah. Well, I think
it's
that
different.
him retiring now, it seems very, but I feel like he's really been, strained throughout his whole career because like he started really early and he works really, really hard, and he's always like, he's the same age. The same age as Ronaldo, so I mean, a lot of people are surprised that he's retiring. But
that's mad when you think about it. Imagine at one point they were saying Rooney was better than Ronaldo at one point, isn't it?
Yeah, that's mad.
English bias.
Mad.
No, but I think he was better though. I think at one point he was better. When Ronaldo first came in, I think 2004.
Yeah, obviously because Ronaldo took time
Yeah,
It wasn't
yeah.
instant impact. Ronaldo did take time, but he was young when he came. Obviously, moving from another country as well. Rooney was straight into.
How long do you guys think Ronaldo will stay in Europe, by the way?
I think give him another 3 to 5 years.
At least till 38. I think 38 he'll keep going.
For a high level though,
I feel like both of Messi and Ronaldo are steadily declining.
even now they've declined heavily. Both of them have declined heavily.
Yeah, they're declining. I don't think either of them get into the team of the year.
You know what's really interesting? What's really interesting is that even in their decline, they're still at the very it's still hard to find players better than them. So I mean, it's quite shocking the levels they reach, because them declining doesn't even seem so bad, because Messi is the highest La Liga goal scorer. I think Ronaldo is the highest in Serie A.
He's still creating the most chances as well, Messi.
Yeah, I mean, if this is what decline is, then it's not that bad.
I feel like Messi's more adaptable though.
I don't know about that.
But
he's not. In fact,
I don't know about that.
Really?
in terms of what? Explain yourself more.
Maybe in his prime, but like right now, Ronaldo.
What do you mean by
I'd rather have Ronaldo.
Okay,
I feel like Ronaldo's adapted his game better, man, because of he's turned from a flashy winger to a poacher. You have to. He's adjusted throughout time with his body and him aging. He's adjusted his game to suit that.
And 3 different teams as well.
Provides more for his teammates.
Exactly.
3 different teams. Messi's only done it for one team.
Messi's been comfy in La Liga for his whole career, man. Ronaldo's done it in 3 different teams.
That's not a bad thing. It's just saying that like Ronaldo has shown that he can adapt. I'm not saying Messi can't.
Yeah.
I mean, they're both adapted. Let's be honest.
No, they have, but Ronaldo's obviously changed teams. That's a very big change.
Mm-hmm. But actually, saying with Ronaldo and with Juventus and in Serie A, how much did they lose by again? How much did they lose by again?
2-0.
Yeah. What are you saying though? What, they're not going to win Serie A for the first time in like 10 years now?
And don't count them out.
Yeah.
The other teams are bottle jobs.
Yeah,
that's true. You have a good point.
You can change very quickly, but I mean, it's not looking nice. It's not looking nice now, though. But, I mean,
we said this last year with Inter. Well, said everyone thought Inter was going to win last year, and that Juve weren't going to win.
Now there are 2 teams that are actually going for Inter and AC Milan. So, I mean, now it's more interesting because what are the chances of both of them bottling it? But I guess we'll see. I think AC Milan even played today, so yeah.
I don't think AC will win it. Because as much as like they're scoring a lot of goals, Simon Kjaer is doing well in defense. I don't look at their team and think it's not quite there. I think Inter have a very good squad. They've got a good system. You know, with Conte, it's very coherent. Even Vidal scoring goals, like I think Inter could win it. And I put money on it more. I mean, Ramsey started on the wing against Inter. Like, what is going on? Like, honestly, like, what does Dybala have to do to get a consistent run of games? A consistent run of games. I know he's on and off. He blows hot and cold, but still, like, Ramsey's not. He can't track. He doesn't track back enough. He doesn't work hard enough. I don't know why they bought him.
You say Ramsey doesn't work hard enough?
He doesn't. He doesn't.
I don't know.
Wait, are you talking? Yeah, I don't agree with that. I'll be honest. I don't. I feel like
from what I've seen at Juve.
Are you talking about him at Juve because of
at Juve?
Oh, because of what you said was I don't know why they bought him, but they probably bought him because they know he's a hardworking player. That's why I would have.
And they're not playing a system that suits his needs. That suits him.
Yeah, but I still think as a hardworking player, I feel like to say he doesn't work hard is a bit harsh.
I think Weston McKennie would have been the best if he'd started. Would have been better.
I think Pirlo was just a weird appointment anyway.
Yeah, it really is. It really is.
I mean, Chiellini and Bonucci starting as well against Romelu Lukaku. It's just Chiellini's not played the whole season and he's playing. I like Chiellini a lot.
I think they just need to refresh. Like they just need to let a lot of the deadwood go.
They've got a lot of young players though. Saying that
exactly. That's where it's players like Chiesa and Kulusevski.
Chiesa's been a good signing.
Yeah, like there's hope. Obviously, they've got a lot of good players, but I think Pirlo wasn't the best appointment, and there's a couple players there that are obviously playing out of position and were probably brought on when they shouldn't have been, and that's kind of holding them back.
For a club like Juventus, it's really surprising that they did get Pirlo, because like when a target for you is to win the Champions League, you should be trying to probably get an experienced manager to do that. It's quite shocking that.
How many world-class managers are there to get though? That's the thing.
That's the
There's
thing.
a few.
When you're Juventus, though,
There is a few.
when you're Juventus, you can get more managers than most clubs. You're a big club.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I do hear that. I hear that, man.
Tuchel's on the market now. You never know.
Nah,
Mm.
nah.
I can't see that happening.
That doesn't work for me personally. It'd be better than Pirlo, obviously, but
You guys ain't got any other topics you want to bring up? Quick ones. Quick fire.
Or you're freezing out.
Barcelona and Atletico Bilbao.
Oh, I didn't watch
Spanish
that.
Super Cup.
first red card, innit? First red card in your club career. Very stinky.
Oh yeah, Ori, what
Some
do you
people
want to
say
say
he was
about it?
blocked off.
Yeah, about that game. Their game management was obviously poor. And the thing about when you're leading 2-1 or a result with a 1-goal lead in a cup final or something like that, when you concede very late, you've more or less lost the game, because the other team, mentality-wise, the other team now thinks, oh, they've got one very late goal, so in extra time they went on. Barcelona didn't look very, they looked very like just down, after that goal. And I mean, I like to be about they obviously capitalized on that, and the goal was really good. The Williams goal was really good, and I think Messi's going though. I feel like he would leave, but I mean, probably to City, but I guess we just have to see,
I feel like he should go to City, but I feel like PSG is looking more likely. I don't know why.
Less risk, really.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like he should go to City though. I feel like if he goes to City and does a madness, even if it's for a little while, it'll boost his legacy up a lot. Ronaldo's done it in multiple leagues. So yeah.
PSG is going to be quite tricky though, because who's going to get the number 10 then and stuff like that, and there will be a huge power surge between Neymar and him. So I mean, Neymar probably literally left Barcelona because of Messi. So
yeah, but he's probably realized now that he needs Messi, because then he want to go back to Barcelona.
Yeah, he's come out and said that he wants to play with Messi again.
Yeah.
So I mean, I guess we just have to. And also, I don't really like Mbappe as a CF, but I mean, so yeah.
I mean, I trust Pochettino to make it work.
Yeah. I guess we just have to see.
I think he's capable of making
I mean,
it work.
PSG and City are probably really the only ones who are really like.
I wouldn't be surprised if he stayed. To be honest, I wouldn't be surprised if he stayed.
Yeah, I wouldn't. A lot of people forget what Barcelona has really done for him. So a lot of people are quick to judge why he never left.
But it's a two-way relationship, though. He's done a lot for them.
He's done a lot.
Yeah, for them. And there's a lot to do at Barcelona. A lot. Their squad is in tatters.
But they have quite a few good young players that could come through.
They got bears, bro. They got bears. They got so many. I
just can't see them progressing with Messi and Koeman.
He's not it.
Koeman, I mean, I don't rate him as a manager.
They could do what Frank Lampard did. When he went to City and they went to New York and they signed that group deal where they go between. I don't know what the group's called.
Oh, yeah, I know what he's talking about. Yeah,
he could do that. Go to City and then go to, because I think obviously there's rumors linking into the MLS as well.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but who are you, man? Stars of the week? For me, I'm gonna say it was a certain fellow called Mason Mount. Came out clutch this week. I know some man don't think of him very fondly, but nah, man, he's been doing his thing this season. But Sarah,
what do you think of the criticism? What do you think of Frank Lampard's comments actually in the interview today?
Where he said if you don't rate Mason Mount, you don't know ball, innit?
Yeah.
Hey, bro,
That's his son. He has to defend the minute. He has to
bro,
defend his
he's
son.
been performing this season, isn't it? I don't really understand the criticism of Mason Mount. He's been doing his thing. The team ain't been performing well recently, and he stepped up. I don't understand the need to belittle him or bring him down. If he's performing well, he's performing well in it. But I mean, people are entitled to their opinions. You know, that's how it is. But yeah, man. Who's your star of the week, Sarah?
I'll give it to John Stones.
Okay.
I'll give it to John Stones. I think he's probably being obviously big. He's probably seen the Laporte company. He's had to work hard probably for the last years to really even be considered. He was at one point he wasn't even getting into the squad, I'm sure, and Fernandinho was playing, and Eric Garcia, who doesn't even want to be there. 2 goals, first few goals since he scored against Man United about 5 years ago, and he's part of probably the best defense in the league, which is probably the reason why they'll win the league. Goals win you games, but defenses win you titles. So look at what Van Dijk did last year.
All right, who's your star of the week?
I'll probably go for Tielemans. I mean, he got 2 assists. He hadn't recorded an assist before the season, which is surprising, but he has been playing well in previous matches. So, but yeah, against Southampton, he really showed his class. So yeah, has a very promising future ahead of him, and yeah, overall good performance, and helped his team to win. Yeah.
What about you, Daniel?
I've criticised him in the past, but I'll give it to Luke Shaw. I think Luke Shaw was very good for Man United. I think he was very, very good.
That's what I was gonna say.
Sorry, bro.
Yeah, man. I was gonna say, yeah, man. Luke Shaw is mine. Yeah.
No, I thought he was quality.
Yeah.
And then the wild lads, gotta give it to Messi, bro.
Messi?
As man punching man up on the pitch.
I'm giving I
got another one.
Yeah,
I'm giving mine to Arsenal.
Arsenal?
The way they treated Ozil, man. That's like
what they did last 2 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. But a special notes for them because obviously he's left now. I think Arsenal, man. The board.
I got Kieran Trippier. I think he's the wallet of the week. The gambling, how he got caught, 10-week suspension. What a knucklehead.
What about you, Sarah Bonore? Who's yours?
I just like watching Chris Wilder's interviews, if I'm honest. It's just funny. I'm not going to give it to Sheffield. I just think he's funny. They literally have about 12 players in their team, and they're just vibing at the moment.
No points, just vibes.
Just watch his interviews, man. They're funny.
Yeah,
quality.
His interviews are good.
I'll give Jurgen Klopp some prompts though. For once, he didn't complain about the fixtures, the schedules, players being out, or nothing like that.
But he couldn't though. They had 9 days. There
we go.
So
I haven't got any Wellers of the week, unfortunately.
I probably have to say Leeds. Yeah. Ever since they criticized that female
reporter.
Yeah.
Karma's just slapping them in the face.
So I mean, they've scored 0 goals since then, and they've conceded 7. So yeah, it's quite embarrassing because just seems very ironic after making comments, and now they're suddenly on such a bad form. But yeah, I have to say Leeds.
A forced image,
Calvin Phillips will come back and help them.
It's a forced image with Leeds, man. It's all a facade.
Hey, we'll get into that another week, man. Yeah, man. I think that's it for this week, man. Thank you, man, for tuning in. Thank you for the support. Like, comment, and subscribe. Share it with your friends, family. Instagram should be in the bio. all of that beautiful stuff, man. And it's been a good week. Been a good week of football. Hopefully, I think there's a game on soon, Arsenal. Hopefully that'll be a good game as well. But till next week, we'll see you then. But stay blessed, yeah. Hold it.